This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. We're here for the regular council meeting of October 5th. I'll do quick introductions and then we will just start the meeting. So with us this morning, we have Councillor Ron Mamchuk.
Good morning.
Councillor Janine Boulanger.
Good morning.
Councillor Curtis Clayton.
Good morning, everyone.
Councillor Shane Pelletier.
Good morning.
We have our CEO, Mitch Duval.
Good morning.
In the background, we have our planning officer, Tanya Waddell.
Good morning.
And myself, Mayor Chris Ewan. So without further ado, we will start with the agenda. Item number 1, meeting called to order. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councillor Pelletier moves, second by Councillor Mamchuk. Council, please cast your vote. While they're voting, I will just remind everyone that everything will be voted online through our software system, and the CEO will read out the votes once they are cast.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. Item 2, adoption of the agenda. Oh, sorry, I opened the meeting at 9:02 a.m. Item 2, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you. Council, any changes or edits to the agenda? For me. No, please.
Not here.
Thank you. Cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Item 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Blanchet.
Mamchuk.
Councillor Mamchuk moves, second by Councillor Boulanger, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Last meeting was held on September 22nd. It was a very busy evening. We had 4 variations, 7 conditional uses. We gave third reading to the closing of a portion of a park for Valley Fiber telecommunications purposes. And the RM also accepted a Red Boyne expansion proposal.
Thank you. Council, do you have any comments?
Not here.
Okay, please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Item 4, committee reports and minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
Councillor Pelletier submitted a report on the TC Energy as well as the Ile-des-Chênes Legacy Park project.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Council, do you have any questions or comments? No.
Not here.
Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Item 5.1, accounts paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor.
Okay, we have 2 batches of the paid to be approved. Batch 15274 in the amount of $75,768.95, and a second batch 15290 in the amount of $16,983.68. No CFO reported. Basically, they are dealings with employee benefits, pension, and receiver general payments as a result of payrolls, as well as a quick check that was cut for the cooking appliances for the Grand Point Homeowners Clubhouse project.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Council, do you have any comments or questions or anything?
I just want to comment on how quick and responsive finance was for that, for the GPHA appliances. So I thank you on their behalf.
Okay, please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. 5.2, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Clayton.
Thank you, Councillor Clayton. Second.
Counselor
Councillor
Belanger.
Pelche.
Councillor Pelche, seconds.
We have one batch 15278, in the amount of $597,537.16. The CFO made a report regarding these expenses. Basically, a lot of it is related to capital projects, asphalt and paving, force main twinning, the Grand Point Clubhouse, purchases of the end dump, et cetera, et cetera. So by the time you take away the big capital items, which represent about 78%, the rest is all as important, but less important.
Thank you. Council, do you have any comments or questions?
Not here.
Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. 5.3, council indemnities. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Counselor Clayton.
Councillor Clayton, sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
These are indemnities for the month of September, as presented to council. Hours range between 14 to 19 hours. Nothing more to report on this matter.
Perfect. Thank you. Council, do you have any questions or comments? We're getting a little busier as the months go by here, I believe. Cast your vote. Please cast your vote. Pardon me.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. 5.4, payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Belanger.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelche.
Thank you.
Counselor Mamchuk.
Councillor Pelche, seconds.
This is in regards to employee payroll number 20, which is from September 12th to the 25th. Basically, not much to report. There was a question from Councillor Pelche regarding an employee and bank hours and hours taken, etc. That was replied back on behalf of finance. No other questions were received at this point in time. Basically, public works still remains busy, and then still a little bit on the busy side with a few events going on right now.
Thank you, Mr. Seal. Council, do you have any comments or questions?
And here.
Not here.
No,
Not
please
here.
cast.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. It seems we're running 5 minutes ahead of schedule. Does council want to go into the delegations or continue with 7 until we hit 9:15?
Sure, it
Doesn't
sounds
look
fine
like-
to me.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're online, right?
I believe one of the delegates are, but I don't know if the other one is.
That is correct. Mr. Duadon is in the council chambers, and the other delegation is not online yet. So my recommendation would be to proceed with actually 7.2, as the delegation is for 7.1.
Right.
Okay, so we will go on to 7.2 if council allows. Okay,
Fine with me.
7.2 bylaw 13-2021 amend zoning bylaw to add greenhouse to MA zone as a conditional use. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelche.
Councillor Pelche, thank you.
At the last council meeting on September 22nd, I believe, we had a presentation regarding a variation for a site coverage amendment. As a result, this was granted, but in order to accommodate Part 3 of the building codes, unfortunately, we couldn't make it work. So administration went back to the drawing board with planning, EDO, and myself, and try to look at other possibilities whereby we could make this project work. And this is by adding greenhouses to the MA zone, which is the manufacturing agricultural zone. There are only 2 of those zones in the municipality. One is in the Grand Point area where Cobblestone is. The other is in the Real Park in the St. Agatha area. So we believe that by adding this use in the table as a conditional use, it gives a little bit more flexibilities for those parks to add a greenhouse if a project would be available. And I think in doing so, it would also help with the Part 3 of the licensing for the project. So a recommendation from administration would be to proceed with first reading. Of course, we need to have a public hearing thereafter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seal. Council, open up for general discussion, comment, and debate. Anyone wishing to make?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I know the lot that we talked about at last council meeting was commercial general. So am I assuming now that, the applicant is considering, I guess, a different lot in the industrial park?
That is the proposal right now, more of an interior lot within the MA zone, which is the center block area, over from the highway. I think we looked at maybe putting a greenhouse in the CG zone, but it's not as, we'd prefer it a little tucked away back. And Sean Crew from the St. Agatha CDI is working with Mr. Manis in regards to lot exchanges or trying to make a deal happen. So just doing our part at our end to see this project move forward.
No, that makes sense.
Anything else from council?
Thank you.
Nothing else? Okay, thank you. Council, please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. We will go to item 8.1.1, traffic impact studies, Manitoba infrastructure and transportation. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councilor
Pelletier.
Mamchuk?
Thank you. Councillor Mamchuk seconds.
Okay, as discussed at the last Public Works meeting, in order to see if we can improve the intersections of Old 59 and Domain, as well as PR 200 and 210, I believe a traffic study would be valid at this point in time. There seems to be more and more traffic at those intersections. So to get the ball rolling and to get MIT on board, council needs to support a resolution making this request. I believe the resolution was added late yesterday, so you could take a quick look at it, but it looks fairly straightforward in my opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Seal. Council, do you have any comments, questions, discussion?
I think it's a very good idea, Mr. Mayor and Mr. CEO.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Outside of these 2 traffic impact studies, I know, we saw fatalities in summer at highway intersection of Highway 305 and 75. I know there was some talk about a traffic impact study, and I know the St. Agatha CDI had been working on one with MIT, but does our CAO know if one is formally, I don't think one's formally been requested by council yet. Maybe it has.
I haven't heard of any further updates, Councillor Clayton, in regards to 305 and 75 as far as MI being where that report is at this present time. As you mentioned, the CDI from St. Agatha is actively pursuing this, so I can reach out to them and find out the status and report back via email to council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from council?
I just have a quick question. So these studies will all obviously support any infrastructure that moves forward. Is that what the intent is?
Yeah, basically highways, before they help fund any projects, want to make sure that it's not wasted and that there's reasoning behind some of the stuff that they're doing. So this is no different.
Perfect. Sounds
Awesome.
good.
Okay, anything else? Last call from council. Okay, please cast your vote.
I am missing Councillor Manchuk's.
I think I have to refresh it. I think I sent it through.
What's your, you can vocally vote there, Councillor Mamchuk, if you're comfortable.
I'm
We're
in
good.
favor, yes.
We're good to go. Thank you. 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, we'll finish with 8.2.1, then jump to delegations. 8.2.1 digital sign policy. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Manchuk?
Councillor Mamchuk moves, second by Councillor Belanger. Thank you.
All right, in anticipation of our digital sign coming at the end of the month, I hope, just wanted to draft up a policy regarding what administration can use to follow as far as guidelines, as far as materials to put up on the sign for display, et cetera, et cetera. So this policy, I will not take full credit for it. I found it online with it's a community in Ontario that had drafted this, and this was their policy. So basically I submitted the town of blank with the arm reach on. So kind of made it work for us as well.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Council, open up for debate, discussion, if there should be additions or corrections.
Not here.
Yeah, I don't see any issues with it as written.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You gotta start somewhere.
No, exactly. Council, please cast your vote. Good job, Mr. CEO.
The vote is carried 5-0, and I failed to report that I did not check into copyrights regarding the policy.
We'll let it slide this time. Okay, I believe we're into delegations. Does council want to take a 1-minute break, or you want to go right into delegations?
Good to go.
Okay, all right, we'll start with 6.1, Luke Weave, proposed rezoning of lots south of St. Adolphe. Luke, usually, just so you know, you've met everyone here, but just so you know, we usually do a 10-minute delegation, but today, because it's a shorter meeting, I think I'll allow as chair 15 minutes if the rest of council would oblige me to do so. So we'll do a 15-minute delegation, and then we're just here to listen, and whatever you want to speak in regards to, that's your time to shine.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me, everyone. Sorry for the delay getting on there. It just wasn't allowing me for a bit. So I have a little bit of a quick presentation. I'm going to do a screen share. Hopefully that'll work. Can you see that or no?
No, we can't. Tanya or Mitch, can they?
Oh, here now it's working. I think now it's working. How's
No.
that?
You guys
No.
can see it? No?
What I'll do is I'll make Luke as a presenter here.
Oh,
I
okay.
just did that.
Okay.
Should work now.
Okay. I will try again. You're sharing your screen. Good?
There we go.
Excellent.
And if you don't mind trying to blow it up there, Luke, that'd be appreciated.
Oh, I'm just looking here now. How do I go to full screen on here now? It's not. Is it just a little screen now? That's weird.
You're muted, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, Luke, on the very bottom right in Canva, I use this quite a bit. There's two arrows that are diagonal or kitty corner to each other. If you press that, it should blow up the whole screen.
Okay. No.
Yeah,
How about
There
that?
we go.
You see it now?
Much better.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so the property across from Turon Creek there, I'm very interested in creating like a St. Adolphe Professional Center. Outline of topics here today, just briefly. Professional Center would include, I have some sample building styles, which I've sent to your CAO as well. Industrial Park, Steinbach Office Shop is one of the buildings as well. And there's another one in Industrial Shop, which is in Industrial Park, is a shop and retail / shop space. And then Steinbach North, that's where I'm from, obviously, so I took a few samples from here. There's a nice commercial office building there as well. So I'll just scroll through here. So I'm building a building like this in Lorette. That one happens to be commercial with residential above, but this is just kind of a style that I want. I'm not asking to put residential above. It's just kind of a style. We intend to develop nice professional looking buildings that are mid to higher end, not a low end entry level quality build. We want to create a vibrant professional business hub that many businesses and residents can benefit from. The convenience of one location benefits the businesses and customers within the community and surrounding area. I noticed that a lot in our industry, that a lot of these small businesses like to be close to the city, but real estate prices are quite high. So in Steinbach here's another shop where it's kind of a hybrid approach, a shop space with office and storage. It's a trending need for many light manufacturing professional services, support and or retail businesses. This one's actually a tech company, and then they also have shop space as well. I think it might be a dual tenant, but I'm not sure. But we intend to create opportunities for many up and coming and already established businesses within the Southeast who wish to be part of a growing community so close to Winnipeg, such as St. Adolphe. Many construction supply and service companies are based out of small communities outside Winnipeg. These companies typically have a better opportunity to thrive if their headquarters are in a smaller community where cost of real estate or rent is more affordable compared to within Winnipeg. Being close to Winnipeg allows these companies to have access to some of the Winnipeg market as well as service their local community. And a mixed-use commercial office retail business centers provide many opportunities for a community to grow within and support local business. We will thrive to bring more small and medium-sized businesses to St. Adolphe and Arm of Richaud if given the opportunity. As a developer, I want to help build communities I'd be proud to call home. That's something that's very important to me. And I look forward to hopefully presenting a more detailed presentation during a public hearing setting. I'm excited to partner with the community, with you guys, to help bring more business to St. Adolphe and the Arm of Richaud. And that's it for that. Any questions for me personally, or any comments at all? Or
Yeah, I'll open up for council. Council, do you have any comments, questions, discussions? Councilor Mamchuk, maybe we'll start with you. It's in your area.
I personally, I think that it's a good site for commercial. It's just the idea to get some, hopefully can get some renters or some business people to join. I think it'd be a good idea. You just got to get the clients in there.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
I am well.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Luke.
I was just going to say I am well connected within the construction industry, obviously, and retail. I have some businesses that would already be interested. I have my own business, so therefore, seeing as I'm building more in Winnipeg in the future and other communities, Niverville this year, it's likely that I'm going to keep some space there for myself as well. So I think if we do it in phases and I find some other investors that might want to build one of their own buildings, right? That's something that I'm open to as well. So I don't need to. It's not necessarily just I want to own it all. I might just I might rent some. I might sell some off. I'm not sure yet. So.
But do you have any parties interested in that area right now, Luke?
Well, I have some guys that are in construction that are always looking for more space. There's people right now that are trying to build shops in Niverville, and that seems to be something that's quite in high demand. They have a bunch of the shops in Steinbach as well, some of which you've seen in these pictures. And yeah, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to find just within my network of contractors some guys that need more space. And then, like I said, my own business too. And I have another business that might be interested, but I'm not sure yet if it'll be the right fit in the community, depending on competition and what's all there already. But yeah, certainly I'm fully confident we'll be able to fill it in phases.
Okay, thank you.
Just a question, Luke. I know we've talked a little bit before, and I think council as a whole would like to see a traffic study done in that general area as the development on the other side develops. But do you have any concern with maybe like a bottleneck problem, you know, at that 8 o'clock time or that 7:30 time when there's only one feeder street coming in from the east and then one feeder street on your side? I think that might be a problem, and if it was a problem, have you thought about that and any way to solve that issue?
That's a good question. Based on my experience recently with highways, I haven't felt that this type of business or this type of property, if not being developed with any residential, will be an issue because most of these people are they're not going to be traveling at that time. They're going to be traveling earlier. Their doors will close, and the businesses that do have some retail customers, if it's only I don't know what the percentage would be, but let's say there's a small percentage that are actually open after 5. That will be a lot less people than Turon Creek. And then also, I think a lot of these people would show up to these businesses much earlier than people are even leaving town because they're early risers, right? They're at their shops at 7:30. So I don't think that would be an issue. But certainly it's something that's obviously always open for discussion. But yeah, I don't think it would be an issue for the size of development that we'd be doing here, and we wouldn't be doing it all in 1 year, so it wouldn't be like 5 buildings all in one shot, right? So I think it'd be minimal traffic.
I appreciate that, and maybe I missed this. I probably did. Pardon my ignorance, but what was the complete build out? How many phases? What's your projections of how many years it would take and how many units?
It will depend on what size buildings we'd go with, but probably based on my original site plans, which I would change, maybe 4 phases, 4 to 5 phases. I would think that the main street that we put in, I actually spoke to ExxonMobil there. I forget the other company that they're part of there, but with the pipeline and highways, and they said I can put in my shared driveway right on the pipeline. I just have to pay for their testing. Their geotech and testing to make sure it's done right in the right compaction. So I'd like to put a shared driveway in down the middle, which would get put in kind of as part of the development, and then after that we could have phases, right? So I'm thinking that part of the construction would all be done in the first year, and that way there's no mess along the highway, nothing like that. We've got the approach in, and then after that we just build on site, and we'll have room until obviously the last phase is always a little bit tougher just because you're crammed on one site trying to do your thing, but it shouldn't be an issue. We fence in and are safe and make sure we do things well. So
Perfect. I appreciate that. Council, do you have any other questions?
I just have a quick.
Councilor
Go ahead.
Clayton?
No, go ahead, Curtis.
Okay, I'll be brief. Yeah, just for Mr. Weeb, you showed us, some varying concepts there. You had, a commercial, residential, which you could almost, look at, office space or coffee shops or something like that.
Guys, I just unpresented him and lost him, so hopefully he'll come back, and that is my bad. My apologies.
Well, then I'm going to hold that thought.
Yes, I'm trying to.
Council, we'll take it. It's a delegation, so we don't need to do anything. We'll just take a minute break here, and Mitch will yell at us when he's ready to go again.
I may seek help from Tanya here for a second.
Just, council, if you could mute and close your video, that'd be great while they correct us.
This conference will now be recorded.
Hello again, everyone. I apologize for the glitch in the matrix there. We're going to continue council at 9:33 and continue the delegation with Mr. Luke Wiebe. Luke, I believe we were in the conversation with Councillor Curtis Clayton. He had a question to ask. Go ahead, Councillor Clayton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Okay, I'll pick up where I left off. So you showed us a couple of different concepts there. One was sort of a, an industrial concept, and we had another one with commercial and residential over the top. The commercial and residential appeals to me. I'm just wondering how the sort of the more industrial concept is going to fit into your development plan. Like, I'm assuming you won't have residential in those units.
No, so my honest answer to this, and my first choice for this land, obviously, I've reached out to a number of you, if not all of you, is to do a mixed use commercial residential. However, if you're not open to that as council, and if you don't think the community is, I would only have a choice to rezone this property to the proposed commercial general, which does not permit any residential above. I would still love to. I wasn't coming here today thinking I was going to discuss that. I still think it would be a better use of the land and better for the community to have commercial with residential personally. I think that's something that's been done a lot in Winnipeg. It's been tried in some of the smaller cities like Steinbach. It worked here. It is a nice thing to have downtown, and it also makes developing a little less risky, and therefore it brings the people to those businesses. However, I'm fully prepared to go forward with an application for commercial general, which does not permit any residential. I would prefer to do I would love it if I could subdivide this land with that shared road down the middle, and actually have retail / residential above, which would have to be commercial. What is that commercial called again? You have commercial general. I think it's commercial central. I don't remember which one now. I'm not looking at the zoning bylaw. But that's what I'd prefer. I think it'd be beautiful. I think people would love living there. I know you have lots of rentals in town, but I mean, that's what I specialize in. It'd be a lot less risk, and also it would provide a little bit more affordable commercial space. Because if you have nothing above commercial space, you have to charge quite a bit of money for that land, right? I mean, that's your only tenant is a commercial tenant. Commercial real estate in small communities is a lot riskier, and that's why you see, like, I was blown away actually, but Subway closed down. I've never seen a Subway close down. Now, of course, there's a lot of other reasons, right? There could be management issues. There's many other reasons that might have closed down. It's not just because there's not a good supporting community. But however, as I said, I would love it if I could have the option to rezone, subdivide a portion of it, like the frontage along the highway or the back, have a mixed use. I think it'd be much better if you would be willing to at least consider the options, even if we don't, even if I'm not able to, let's say, build next spring residential, like that's fine. I'm open to conditions. I'm really open to that. That would be a lot more appealing to me, but yeah, I guess with the commercial general, I wouldn't allow that. Answer that question. So the industrial, how that would fit in. I don't really want to do any heavy industrial or anything, nothing like that. More or less like, you have a contracting company that needs storage for their scissor lift and their tools and generators. And then they also have an office space or an electrical company, stuff like that, right? If that answers your question.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you.
Cool.
Councillor Belanger, I believe you had a question?
Yes, one of them was answered about the residential, so thank you. And this is more of a comment rather than a question regarding the Turon Creek commercial across the street. I think we're not seeing any action over there, so I think we're just a little leery or a little worried about the amount of commercial going in there, and we'd like to see that area obviously developed right away. But being a developer yourself, I guess you can't go across the street and start developing their land with your businesses, right? So that's why you're looking at this spot, because yeah, like I said, it's just a comment, not a question.
And I like that you asked that. With full respect to those guys, what they do, they are way bigger than me, obviously. I don't know if many of you knew this, but I represented that subdivision as the residential realtor. And without, I'm not here to talk bad about them or anything, but they had a lot of partners, a lot of opinions. So I sat at a boardroom table every 2 weeks with about 8 or 9 people, right? So I actually ended up deciding that it was best for my family to actually walk away from that development, even though I sold about 35 lots in the first year. So it took a while for it to build out. Like that was the problem. That's why, just to give you a bit of how do I say it, inside information of how these conversations went. We sold those lots. It was above and beyond what they asked of me and expected of me in the first year that I was with them. However, after that, we hit a brick wall because none of these builders, they basically we had a conundrum where they agreed with me that we shouldn't have endless amount of builders because it creates too much supply, and now there's not enough demand, right? So they all just basically what happened in Niverville years ago. There was too many builders building one house a year, 2 houses, and then they all overcompete, and there's nobody makes any money. So they agreed with me, let's do 5 or 6 good builders and let's call them preferred builders, give them a little bit better rate if they commit to 5 lots or more. So I sold about 35 lots-ish to 6 builders, or somewhere a little bit more than that. And then the problem is they weren't getting rid of their inventory and getting any pre-sales like they hoped. They're trying to do it the Winnipeg way immediately in a little town. Takes time, right? You need a development for people to, like most people in the beginning, they'd come there and see just 3 houses. So to answer your question, the commercial there, yeah, I would love to develop that commercial, but it's a huge piece and they're going to ask an arm and a leg for it. And that's the main problem they have, is they have a huge piece that's too big right now, right? If I would develop across the street and do something really well and have an opportunity to do some residential above, they'd probably want to do the same there. The thing is, they're in the residential real estate market, mostly ANS Homes, who's the major shareholder, and they want to build tons of houses and apartments and like condos, right? That's what they do. So yeah, to find someone to buy the whole thing in a small community is going to be very extremely difficult, in my opinion. That's why I wanted to start with this other one. And if there's more opportunity there in the future, I'd absolutely love to. But it's too big of a piece in one shot. It's very risky.
Okay, thank you for that.
No problem.
Yeah, I appreciate those comments. Council, anything else to add? No, I think that's it. Luke, do you have any final comments or anything else you'd like to say before we end it?
Yeah, the last question I had is because I'm not in a huge rush or panic on this. I would just like to get the ball moving a little. If I don't know if there's any more potential discussion to discuss the opportunity to do what I mentioned, to have some of this land subdivided along the front or back that would be allowed to be the other commercial zoning and some of it to be the commercial general. Is that something you guys are open to even if we rezoned it to commercial general, then later, change another zoning on a portion of it? Is that something you guys are open to? I'm not expecting an answer, but if that's something you're open to,
Yeah, that's a tough conversation during a delegation, but there's definitely coming up, and council can talk about this delegation at the planning meeting amongst each other, and we'll make sure either our EDO or CEO or our planning officer get back to you with our final thoughts on that.
Okay, and then my last question is, rather than, because I guess we're doing, I don't know if this is like a first reading thing today, because it's not but that's what that would be, right? First reading for the original zoning application I made, correct? So I guess,
Yes.
right, Janine?
Yes.
So I
that's
guess
it.
all I'm asking, if there's more discussion once I'm off the call and you guys are open to that, I'm open to not rushing this if it needs to be delayed another month or something. Like, I'm just throwing it out there that I'm open to it. If you guys are open to more discussion, please just, I'm willing to basically do the zoning that you ask, but I'm open to that because I feel it'd be a much better fit and we could build it out much quicker. So just wanted to leave those final comments.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think luckily it's just first reading today, so there's no public hearing or anything. It's just going through getting it on the table, and then we'll discuss the planning, and we'll be in touch with any other opportunities that may or may not be happening. But let's if you want, we'll keep it on the table today and open it up and start.
Perfect. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your day, guys and gals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
You
Luke.
too.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council, you're good to continue with delegations.
Yes.
Okay, I believe we have Mr. Doiron in the council chambers. Mr. CEO or Tanya, can you confirm?
Yes.
We're on.
Okay, I will introduce Mr. Robert Doiron for the communication program delegation. Mr. Doiron, same thing as before. I don't know if you heard me. The time is yours. We're going to allow up to 20 minutes if council's okay with it. And then we'll ask you some questions and we'll go from there.
Okay, do I begin now or? I'm going to read partly through, you already got this communication from Tanya, my presentation. I'm just going to go through it, read part of it, and at the end we can perhaps have a discussion. I wasn't going to introduce myself, but I've been already introduced. So I want to first thank the council for allowing me to appear this morning and listening to what I have to say. I'm here to speak about the communication between the municipal office and the citizens of Reshow. The emanation of information from a municipal government to the citizens now requires much more work to be as effective as a provincial government or a federal government. Almost everything that happens in those two governments is covered by reporters from newspapers, television networks, and social media, and then published almost immediately for everybody to see and read. Municipal government has to publish its work through its own resources. Before COVID, when council meetings were live, 2 local newspapers used to send reporters to every Reshow council meeting and then publish the important council decisions in their newspapers that were circulated for free throughout the municipality. The citizens even delivered their newspapers directly into every home in Reshow. That's no longer done, probably mostly through COVID. The Reshow municipality has 2 basic methods of communication, the Reshow website and Connect. All council meetings are now virtual. In the past, there were times that the entire council meeting was full of citizens, eager to listen to the meeting proceedings that may affect them. Now, I've attended virtual meetings where there are less than 10 people online. In the past, I've attended town hall meetings at the St. Adolphe Arena, absolutely packed with citizens from all over the municipality. The municipality recently held a virtual town hall with an overview of the 2022 municipal budget. Probably the most important yearly document that the municipality publishes, as it contains information that may affect every citizen. As I recall, only 12 people were in attendance for the virtual meeting. I want to first talk about the website. It does contain a great deal of information and is easy to navigate. However, it does not have a lot of information that's sent out by Connect, just as Connect has a lot of information that's not available on the website. Connect is another very good source of information. Unfortunately, only about 30% of the citizens have signed up for Connect. Yet the municipal office is using it to communicate with citizens as if the messages were going to everyone. A good example was the recent survey sent from the Recreation Department asking for preferences for recreation and Reshow this fall. It was sent only to Connect, which means that if everyone replied to the survey who was on Connect, and very likely everybody did not reply, only about 30% of the citizens would have provided information on their preferences to the Recreation Department. The Recreation Department then sent another message with a list of recreations available, again on Connect, based on the survey that was returned by less than 30% of the citizens of Reshow. I've heard people say, Well, if the citizens don't want to sign up for Connect, that's their fault if they're not getting the information that's coming from the municipal office. That might be plausible argument. However, the biggest effort to sign up people in Connect has been through Connect. Basically, the municipal office has been sending requests to people who already are connected or using the website. I've recently spoken to some people in Richaud, whether they go to the website and if they use Connect. Less than 10% of the people I spoke to use either one. My aim has always been transparency in government. I'm offering my time, my experience, and my expertise to direct a program that will increase the use of the municipal website and Connect. Now, as far as my expertise and my experience, I'm just going to add this above this. I spent 40 years in retail. My last job, I supervised over 40 stores in Western Canada. I had a very successful operation. My area was the most successful one of the company, and we were all across Canada. I attributed this to my communication with my employees, which in turn made good communication with my customers. So I have the experience how to get the message across. I would like every citizen of Richaud to be aware of what the municipal government is doing that affects them. And I would like every citizen to have quick, easy access to that information. I also have some ideas how to improve and expand the current methods of communication. I am willing to design and implement the program without any charge of my time. The main part of the program will be 4 direct mailings from the municipal office to every home and business in Richaud. All information sent to the citizens will be sent from the municipal office. Unless asked to do so, my name would not appear on the communications to any citizens. A small budget would be required to fund some other promotions that I have. Why direct mail to people's homes? The municipal office sends the quarterly utility billings by direct mail to every home because they know every home will receive it and pay it. They know that when a homeowner sees that the information is from the municipality, they will open it and read it. The office also sends the yearly property tax directly to every home for the same reasons. They know that they will receive the envelope, they will open it, and they will read it. Now, why should I be the one to lead the program? Because I believe I have more experience and expertise in attracting people to a program than any person in the municipal office. I'm willing to donate my time for absolutely no cost. I'm not asking any credit for any successes. I'm only seeking better communication between the municipal government and the citizens of Richaud. I'm therefore asking the council to approve the implementation of the program directed to myself to improve and expand the communication from the Richaud municipal government and the citizens of Richaud. It will consist of 4 direct mailings to all homes and businesses in Richaud and a budget of $5,000 to fund other promotional expenditures. All mailings will be approved by advance by CAO and the council and sent from the municipal office. Now, as far as the budget for other promotions, that would probably mostly be for cards or things to hand out to people who come to the office or things like that. And it may be far less than that. I don't know what's available here. So I want you to consider this as a very important meeting. I think there's nothing more important than communication between the government and the people. You people as councillors, you represent people in your ward, okay? They elected you to represent them. Now, if you think that they should get an opportunity to have better communication we have now, direct communication, coordination, then I think you should vote for it. If you don't think it's the right thing, don't vote for it. But if you think it's the right thing to do, I think that you should vote for it. And like I said, when I say direct it, I'm a very busy person. I have a lot of things that I do every day. And when I say direct it, that is to help and work with the people in the office here, using my expertise, and say, I think we should do this, I think we should do this, and then implement it. So I hope that you'll consider it as an important thing to do. And I want to thank you for your time, and I'm willing to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Dwaro. I appreciate conversations with you always. Council, do you have any general comments, questions for Mr. Dwaro?
I have a question. Thank you for your delegation. And I think, I'm not sure you're aware, but communication has always been top priority with us as well. At the very beginning, we agreed that it was not stellar and that the citizens really need to be informed of what's going on. So it's always a difficult thing to do. It's always a hard topic. And the paper, I guess, is a good way. The question I have, and this might be before my time, the Citizen, you said that it used to distribute to every home in Richot. I live in Grand Point. We never got anything. Like, it's basically just to the urban centers, aka rural centers. So like Yellowshane, St. Agatha, and St. Adolphe. So it's always tough to go that route. And I know we've tried different avenues with flyers and everything. So I just want to know if you know how the papers can be distributed, I guess, to the whole community.
I'm sorry, I'm not looking for to use the paper to distribute anything. What I'm looking for is to go direct mail. Now I'm saying for them, the idea is to develop, okay? You have to give the people a reason to connect. You have to give them a reason to go to the website. They have to know, for example, you can be connected and have it on your phone, but you work all day. You don't want to have a message sent to you continually on your phone when you're at work. You don't want to have that. It has to be timed. It has to be sent at the right time. It has to give people the opportunity and the want to see, well, what's happening? Okay, do I want to see what it is? So I think it's generating interest. Okay. The newspaper, when it went to Grand Point, now that may be so, but I was told it went to everywhere, okay, by the guy who runs the paper. So,
Yeah, I know.
But it went to a lot of people, okay, and it was free, and it was directly done there. And I did send a reporter and paid a reporter to come to every council meeting. Same with the one from, where's the other one from? I forget the other one's name now. But they sent somebody as well. And they did the reporting. But we don't have that. And when only 12 people show up or 10 people show up for a council meeting, a virtual council meeting, all the things that you're saying and doing is not getting out. And I think we need to get it out. It will help you guys do your job, because when you come up with ideas, and there's a lot of good ideas. I read the meetings all the time. And, there's a lot of good ideas that have come out of it. It just does not get into the people. And I think that's very important. I think that, for example, this thing about the recreation, right? You want to know what everybody wants. Grand Point people have the right to have, find out what, is their choices for recreation. But when only less than 30% of the people, and you develop a program based on only 30% of the people replying, you're not developing a program for everybody. And so the more people we can get, the website is terrific. There's so much information on there. The problem is it's not coordinated with Connect. And as I said the other day, I said to you people that there's twice a year you can put out bulk items because they don't fit into the bins that are supplied. Okay. Now they set out on the website. There's a list of all the days. Very well put together. This day, this day, this day. But most people don't know that. I ask them, what's on the site. They have no idea. We need to let them know. You want to find out when the garbage thing is on there? Go to the site. You want to find out when this? Go to the site. And they will be able to access all of this. So what happens is a message was sent 4:24 in the afternoon on a Friday. Now don't forget to put your stuff out on Saturday morning. Now, that's fine. We did send a reminder, but it's not on the website, okay? I'll tell you, when I was running for office, I asked every place I went, and I went to 90% of the homes. And I asked every one of them, do you access the site? A lot of them told me they don't even have a computer. I'm not kidding. They don't have any access to the site. Others told me to use your phone, Connect wasn't connected. Did you ever use? No. Did you ever look? No. So let's get the citizens involved. Let's get them get access to everything. And like I said, you people will be able to do your job better. If you know in your area, this is what people want, right? You can work when you're making a decision to vote. Okay, if there's a vote on something, knowing that your people have all the information helps you make a proper vote. So all I'm trying to do is just easier access for everybody. I think it's a small amount of money, an easy job. I mean, we spend, if you go to the budget and look on here, what we're spending our money on, it's a small amount of money, really. But the most important thing, you know what, if the 4 letters I send out or 2 letters I send out really expands it quickly, we won't have to spend any money. I just want to have to back that council and say, look, we've got this far, we need to go get a few more dollars. We may spend it, may not spend it. But I just want to work with the people here. You know, I've talked to some people here, they're very helpful. I just think I have a little bit more experience that I can offer and direct the program more easily distributed throughout. Other questions?
I just have
No,
a,
Go ahead, sorry.
just a general comment. Yeah, I just, Mr. Dwaro, I just wanted to thank you, you know, for the time you put into your presentation. You know, you identified what you feel is a, you know, is a gap, and you came up with a solution. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And I know that, you know, everybody, you know, they talk about communication channels. Everybody likes to, you know, capture information in different ways. I mean, if you look at millennials and the younger generation, you know, where it's TikTok or social media or, you know, just a quick text, you know, other demographics, you know, they like to go through the mail and read. And sometimes we'll read a newspaper online, or we'll actually, you know, hold it in our hands. So are you thinking that, you know, adding something to like to a water bill or a separate mailing would sort of be the extent of what you'd like to do, or you'd like to tap into all those different channels?
When we send a water bill, it costs nothing to put another piece of paper in there, right? We don't have the paper postage, and we know it's going to go to every person. You know, I'll give you another example.
Not in Grand Point. Sorry. We don't get anything.
For those that have water service, that's right.
It's a good thing you got you speaking up. I'll give you another example here. You know, I looked up Reshow Recreation. Okay, do you know there's another site called Reshow Rec? Nothing's been posted on this since November of 2020. So if you tell people to go to go look it up on Facebook, where do you look? Okay, we need to make sure this is where it goes. When you put that in there, that's where it ends up. So people don't get frustrated and go to all different places. We have 2 Reshow municipalities as well. One's got nothing on it. Been in there for a long time. But if you push that in there and you punch that button on Facebook, that's what you're going to get. So what I'm trying to do is say, you know what, you want to find out what's going on in Reshow? This is where you go. Part of a message we'll have on the direct mail. We'll say, this is what you want, there's where you go. This is what we have on the website. This is what we do. And just let them know how to communicate. It'll save you guys time, it'll save the people here time, and we're making sure, and we'll know for sure by increasing. I think there's no reason why we can't get Connect, I don't know, 80%. You know, there's no reason. May not all use it, but they should know, okay, that this is how you connect. There's nothing to it, right? It shows a phone app, but I don't use it on my phone, okay? I happen to be retired. I use it on my computer. You know, it looks like a phone app for people. Oh, I don't want it on my phone. Really, you don't have to have it on your phone. You can have it in your house, right? So there's a lot of things that just need clarification more than anything, okay? So I'm just hoping to help the people here, present some things, say this is what I think we should do, you know, get their ideas. I'm sure there's a lot of people here who are pretty smart. What do you think we should do? You know, should we do this? So I just want to be a coordinator more than anything. And if we come up with some ideas and we need a few bucks to do it, right? Do it. For example, business cards is the cheapest form of advertising in the world, okay? What's it cost? $10 to get a 500 cards, right? Every person that walks in here for any reason should be asked, are you connected to Connect? And if they're not, okay, you give them a card, here's how to do it. Done. So everybody comes in, finds out how to do it. And on the back of the card is a connection. This is what you're getting on the card. Or anytime you communicate in any way, you make sure they get this. So after a while, everybody's, oh, I ran into the store to give me this connect, or somebody says, well, I'll throw it away. Yeah, somebody's got to pick it up though. If it gets thrown aside, oh, connect. Okay. So I'm just trying to use my retail business skills, my ability to sell things to people, try and sell and connect and sell the website. I think the website is very well done. There's a lot of great information on there, but we're just not getting it as we should. That's it. So, and I hope you guys will see that and give us an opportunity. And all my time doing this, I just want to be the person who can share my abilities. That's it. And no cost.
Well, thank you very much to Mr. Dorian for the presentation, our delegation. Thanks for your time. And we as council, and we'll have to, I know communication is very important. To me, it seems astonishing right now. We have such so much, we have Facebook, everything else. There's so much privileges there to use for communication, and yet we seem to encounter still some issues. To me, word of mouth is the best to get a message across. And I live in this municipality of our community of St. Adolphe, and that seems to be the quickest things to get done is by word of mouth. You walk on the streets, people communicate with each other. And like I say, I don't know how you go back in your early years. How did people communicate then? There never seemed to be as issues as now. We have better technology now seems to be more efficient than 20 years ago. It just astonishes me.
If you don't have the information, I can ask you guys questions right now that you don't know the answer to. Okay, I can. And how can you pass out information that you don't know the answer to? Everybody's got to know. And as far as communication, I've asked so many people. I live in St. Adolphe. I've asked them, do you use it? They don't. Some don't even know what it is. So how can they get information? Where are they getting it from? It's not in the newspapers anymore. It's not on TV. It's not on radio. It's not on Facebook. How are they going to pass it from person to person when they don't have it to start with? What I'm saying is, let's give them the information, the access, and everything else. Yes, we can speak to people, right? But if you're working all the time, every day, it's easy for me. I'm retired. I can go speak to everybody. But I got people I know, they work all day. They come home from work. What they want to do is say, well, do you want to know what happened to the council today? So I think that giving them the access, giving them the avenues, right, and giving them the reason why they need to know it is really the answer. And once we get this thing where people are going to say, they're going to ask us, how do we connect to connect? That's what we have to do. The desire to get connected.
Once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up. I appreciate it, Mr. Dwaro, as always. I think, as you know, we've had conversations before. Communication is top priority for myself and council, but I always appreciate feedback, opportunities, our weaknesses as well as our strengths, and I think you pointed all of those out and given us a lot to reflect on. So, again, thank you very much, and I'm sure we will give you a response in one form or another, maybe direct mail, maybe an email, and then
I check my email every day, so you can do well,
thank you very much.
I gotta say that you guys are very good at listening.
Thank you.
Council. Okay, you guys will listen, and you ask good questions and everything else, and you don't seem to just dismiss things because you don't like it. You're willing to listen, which is another important thing to do. So, thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. We'll talk again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council, I think that's the end of the delegations. I'm just reopening up my section here. I believe, Mr. CEO, just correct me if I'm wrong, we're on to 7.1.
That is correct.
Okay, item 7.1, bylaw 12/2021, rezone 1-66782 and B-59605 from AL to CG, first reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. Second.
Councilor Clayton?
Thank you.
So based on the delegation from Mr. Luke Weeb, This is an application to rezone not only the property to the north, but also the property to the south that the municipality owns. It's 2 lots. So we would be looking at rezoning both parcels from AL to CG. Administration, planning, and EDO sat together, reviewed the 3 zones, the CG, the CH, Commercial Highway, and Commercial Central. And as we looked at all the 3 zones with council's thoughts in the back of our minds, decided to proceed with a CG application, and council should all have a copy of what the permitted and conditional uses are for that property. Again, this is only for first reading. A public hearing will be required. And Mr. Weeb's consideration for a mixed use could come at a later date, and do the proper subdivisions, etc. But for now, this is what we have on the table to work with.
Thank you, council. Open up for discussion. Anything to add?
Right now it's agricultural, right? And does anybody farm it? Is it good agricultural land? Is it useless land?
I don't think it's useless. I think it's in a tight agricultural position to try and harvest or create any kind of crop because of the section that it's on. It's right off the highway. It's a small piece. I think getting any kind of water there would have to be hauled in, like for the farm itself. Go on and so forth. So it's definitely a tough ag piece of land.
Okay.
And there's also, from my understanding, there is a not a caveat, Mr. CEO, you'll correct me here, but pipeline rights running through that easement. Thank you, an easement running through there as well. So it's definitely it's not an ideal piece of land.
It is a challenging area to work with.
Okay, anything else from council? No. Okay, council, please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you, and I think we're jumping all the way to item 11, if I'm correct, Mr. CEO.
I believe that wraps up the business in hand.
Thank you. So adjournment, do I have a mover?
Councillor Belanger.
Mamchuk.
Councillor Belanger, we move, second by Councillor Mamchuk. Any final comments? Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. I'll close the meeting at 10:10 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Please stop recording.